Someone made a video about us. Just going to go through it, address some of the points, and yeah, correct a lot of what's been said. We weren't even going to respond to this, but because of some of the stuff they've said, it's quite offensive to people in the team, and obviously we don't want people thinking that we're not responding because we are hiding anything. But hopefully this will clear the air a bit. But yeah, let's just get into it.
An indie studio submit their game to Steam. It got rejected because it was too suggestive.
Okay, so straight off the bat, literally we are 6 seconds in and we encounter our first lie. So they submitted their game to Steam and it got rejected. He's failing to mention that it's the Steam page, not the game. There is a whole different process for that. Like, you have to go through an entire different process for submitting your game. We're at the stage of submitting our page, and we've clarified that from day one. So the post that initially went viral, it says on it, our Steam page has been rejected. We're in early development. We don't have the game. We're just trying to get our page out for Halloween, for our reveal event for our community. So 6 seconds in, and we've got our first lie, which is what he bases a lot of this video on, from what it seems. So
And Steam wanted to censor their entire game. Influencers
no,
rallied behind
wrong.
this indie developer, and then a week later, Valve reversed their decision. This is a huge victory for freedom and anti-censorship. Or is it?
Even the
So,
way he's
my name is
speaking, you can
Rosebud. I
tell
am
he's
the
against
solo
this.
developer of Suburb Path. I have worked in the AAA industry for a while. Currently, I do.
We're gonna get into this. So he, in this video, and you'll see it, he kind of pokes fun at the roles of our female team members. Only the female team members he pokes fun and kind of says that their job description is inflated, as in it's undermining their work, saying like they're not qualified for their roles, which is disgusting. But also, he shouldn't be talking about roles, and we'll go into that.
Independent games I solo developed. One is on Steam and the second one is in development. This past week, the indie developers who are working on a new game, Red Pine Falls, claimed.
Second lie, he can't even get the name right. The name that he's saying isn't correct. It's Red Pine Lake. It's 3 words that you should be able to get correct if you are doing a piece or whatever this is. Obviously, it's just rage bait. At this point, it seems like that's all this is, because no one surely can get that much stuff wrong in the first. And, obviously, he's plugging his own games right at the beginning. It's fine to promote your own games, but don't do it on someone else's drama when someone else has just gone through something quite big and had their game page denied for their event, which they were building up to for a long time. So
that their game is completely being censored by Steam. This led to many
not true.
influencers rushing online stating that Valve is now pushing new censorship on their games. This game's rejection is actually not a new policy at all. What this actually was is uneven
wait for it.
enforcement of a policy that's been around for a few years.
Again, we'll get into this. There's a lot of stuff he doesn't know because either he's not read it or it's stuff literally we've not shown yet as well. There's some stuff from Steam we've not shown yet because we've said we're trying to come up with a resolution with them. So in order to just kind of respect that they're trying, we have not been posting anything. We don't want to be accused of drama farming, so we've stopped posting responses because now they're actually responding to us properly. They've not given us all the answers yet, so things are still in the air. So we haven't wanted to kind of work on that and just cause drama for the stuff they have sent, but even that is still clarifying on their end how wrong they were and how, again, I'm not going to be quoting here, but they've stated how going forward things need to be done differently. So yeah, he doesn't know this stuff.
At the very least, this uneven enforcement of the rule, alongside with unprofessionalism from the devs communicating with Steam, as well as misrepresentation of the situation onto social media.
The only thing, and I've said this myself, some of the responses that were sent to Steam could be seen as unprofessional. And I accept that, because when you're an indie dev and you've worked on a project for a long time and you're finally ready to get it sent out, and it's denied for a reason that's a false flag, something which Steam have admitted, the amount of frustration and anxiety that you have goes through the roof. So I did make some responses while still feeling emotional and frustrated. It has come across as unprofessional. I accept that. I said that myself. But the point I was carrying was still valid. It's how I wrote that point, or those points. But they were valid because Steam have even admitted now that this shouldn't have happened. So, and misrepresenting the situation is not something we did. We clarified, we showed what receipts we could, and still did that in a respectful way, blocked out any personal information from the Steam employees, which is what people were asking us not to do, but we did, because we have to do that. So we didn't misrepresent anything. I think he's read this completely wrong, as in the first 6 seconds it's shown he's just dived into this to try and get some views.
Turned what's actually a very small administrative issue into a viral freedom of speech event. I want to make it clear, I'm not here to defend Valve. Just like
Really?
certain aspects about Valve
Okay.
I have issue with. I don't care if you like Valve or if you hate Valve. This is
We don't hate
about
Valve.
people getting emotional and the truth becoming distorted. To start from the beginning of the situation, Sakura Studios, they are a small indie team. More actually just one guy, but I'll get into
No, don't worry, we're going to get into this.
Published one game on Steam, and it looks like this is the second game that they're trying to get onto Steam. Last week they tried to submit their horror game onto Steam and it got rejected. In their announcements post that
Page.
on Twitter, they claimed that Valve stated that they're...
So in his, just to clarify here, just a minute. In his own video, he posts evidence to contradict his own point. It says clear as day at the top of the screen here, this image is the reason our Steam page has not been approved. Steam page is a completely different section from getting your game approved. If he's a dev and he said he's already got a game out, he should know this. This is very basic knowledge for any dev, that there are different sections of release. Before you can release your game, you have to have your Steam page verified first, which is what ours got stuck at, that verification process. It didn't get past that, which is what this whole thing's about. Not the game. We haven't said that, and he's literally showing proof of that, that we said Steam page has not been approved. That's all we've said.
Their artwork is too mature and that they have to censor the game. As you can see on screen,
Censor
they say right here,
the
they
assets.
have to censor the game. This is their words.
So we've said this, and again, this is a separate point. Where will it stop? We're saying, and this is a point we have made, and it still is valid. This is a fact. We would have to redo the networking if we're going to move platform. We're saying we are now having trust issues with Steam, because if they are going to censor this picture on just a Steam page, is it down the line going to be moved to censoring this stuff in game? This is a topic we've talked about even before any of this happened. So yes, we did say, do you really want a censored game? Because we're asking the community, do you want that? Because down the line, that might happen. And that is what is happening. Some games have already been taken off Steam. We shared a game story the other day that had been taken off Steam. It had been censored. Well, it didn't get censored. It got nuked. It got taken off Steam. They had to move to their own website or something. So that is what we're saying here. These are two separate points, hence why it's a different paragraph. So we're asking, what do we do from here? Again, at this point, we're very frustrated. We don't have a lot of trust with Steam at this point. It's a different point.
So I'm going to blur out their backside to be consistent with my morals, but bear with me.
This is a crucial point. With his morals. So his morals are, that a woman in a bathing suit in a lake is, according to him, too mature. Let that sink in. In a conversation about censoring and anti-censorship, he is saying that his morals fit in more with what the Steam agents have been saying, that it is too mature to put on a video on YouTube. There are loads of videos on YouTube which feature women in bathing suits, because that is not adult content. It is not mature.
Do you think blowing out her backside is silly? Let me know in the comments below. First off, a major reason why it got flagged
Censoring it.
being PG-13 is because the woman's backside is the main focus of the image.
Not the main focus of the image, and again, a woman in a bathing suit. It's not past PG-13. Children can go to beaches. Children can go to swimming pools. There's no one stopping that. Women shouldn't be getting covered up, and children are allowed to see this, and 13-year-olds are allowed to see this. You pick up a catalogue and you can see people in bathing suits, which are the main focus of the image. This image, and I'll say this now, this is scene appropriate. By scene appropriate, I mean it's a mixture of the setting, but also the fact that it's a lake. It is a woman in a bathing suit in a lake. Not even at the side of the lake, she's in the lake. It's scene appropriate. It's 80s slasher themed as well. So a lot of the design choices we've made, which people can disagree with, people can say they don't like it, that's fine, that's their opinion. But these kind of design choices are done to be scene appropriate. Research goes into these. So
Head is cropped out of the top. The title of the game is in the center.
There's loads of images where it shows the bottom of someone and no head.
Is the woman's backside. I mention this because it's important to understand why someone might flag something during an approval process. The woman's
Which they were wrong to do.
The focal point of the game's capsule art was given as the reasoning as to why the artwork was too mature for the store. So in reality, even though they claimed the game was being censored, the store page got rejected due to the capsule art.
Which is what we said. It's literally what we said. We even state this clearly in multiple posts, and because we wanted to clear things up, and we specified it was the library and capsule assets which were the reason, and we showed the image and said this is what our capsule art is, and our library, the library art that they didn't like was this image. This is so you're making a video about a point we've made, but you're adding these points which we didn't say. So
whether you agree or disagree as to whether the capsule art is too mature,
it's not.
That is not the current point. The current point I'm making is that they made a false claim.
But we didn't.
The game is being censored when it was the capsule art. And it's
Sorry, I hit the mic.
point this out because transparency is not there. The issue is that the store page.
Transparency is not there, he claims, but the issue there is we did nothing but post receipts. We even had a massive post just to clear up the tagging accusations that we'd mistagged the game. We have been more than transparent. We even sent some of the because you've got to remember we have some personal information within the thread, which we're not obliged to share publicly, just like we've blocked out personal information on Steam employees. But we sent some of the threads to some other content creators that wanted to cover the story. Now, they did it in a very respectful way. They got in touch with us, they communicated with us, they wanted our side of the story, but wanted verifiable evidence. And we was very upfront with them, hence why it got covered by so many people. And some of them even say, as much as this could have been seen as a fake situation, I have talked with them and I'm convinced. I'm happy to go ahead with this. Like, we people didn't just run it for no reason. It's because we were so upfront. So I think this person probably caught wind of it going viral and went, how can I get involved in this? And that's it. They didn't even have the time to do any research. They shared maybe one post in here and none of the others. So
Assets were not approved, not the game. Many influencers took this, ran with it, and started saying that this is new censorship that Valve is enforcing.
there is a
Or
reason
that's
why they said
tied
that.
to the whole Visa, MasterCard, and PayPal situation. Steam developers have access to the Steam documentation. Rules and regulations.
There's a lot of cuts in this. He could have made loads of edits to fix things and he just didn't. The reason people thought it was new is because one of the notes that we got sent, which we showed people, said that even adult games aren't allowed any of those kind of images. So that did come across new because even all the devs that make adult games were commenting saying, but if it's an 18, you get away with it. And we said, not by this. And we showed them. So it did come across as a new regulation. There's a lot of contradictions going on, and Steam have said that, so they've answered some stuff, but not everything. That's why we've not come forward with all the latest responses. It's a bit muddled up, but they have clarified that it was wrong, it shouldn't have happened.
Regulations are all posted on there. Yes, there are lots of documentation to go through, but it is all available in there for us to go through. I'm not allowed to show you what's in the Steam partner control panel or what's in the Steam partner documents because those are under NDA. If somebody else does on their YouTube channel, that's their problem. I'm not going to show something
But
that I'm under.
But he doesn't even need to do any of this. So the only information we shared was, again, we blocked out any personal information. Uh, we just talked about the tagging and we showed the valid response, as in the whole major point of what this was about. So he doesn't even need to do that. All he would have had to do is look at what Steam said to us, because we have to go by our situation and what Steam are telling us, not some guy who doesn't understand the situation. And other people now are going to look at this and go, well, if you're not going to show us anything, you're also not showing any evidence. Like, I know there's some stuff that devs can't show, but it's irrelevant because Steam showed us and told us things which just were wrong. That's why they made a 180, because it was wrong. But it's still their fault for doing what happened and for telling us that information. So at this point, what he's saying about I can't show you anything to verify my claims, it's irrelevant. All that he would have had to do is pull up the one post where we explain everything in detail.
NDA to not show. There are pages that specifically go over what's allowed on the capsule art. Here's a post on the Steamworks.
I'm going to try and not stop as much because I want to get through this as quick as possible.
This post was from July 2022. It clearly states that all capsule images must include PG-13 appropriate.
That's the whole point, though. As is, it's just they false flagged it as not being.
For at least 3 years, maybe even longer. That means the public facing.
But the other thing we got told. I mean, that's kind of fitting in with it, because other people said if it had been tagged as an adult game, we'd have got away with it, which is even something Steam have said that you get more leeway, but that doesn't make sense according to this rule. The whole point is, and again, I think it's gone over his head, is that as was not mature, it is PG-13. That's the whole point of this. He just doesn't agree with it. He thinks ours is too mature because he will censor it on his own channel to fit in with his morals. He thinks that women should be covered up more if they're going to be on anything which is publicly accessible, like the images in your asset library. That's not something I agree with, nor does our team, nor does most of our community, I believe, because that's why they're agreeing with us. So we're going to skim over some of this because a lot of it is going over points based on these claims he's got, which we've shown within the first 6 seconds are just not valid. So we're going to skip over some stuff. I'm going to stop pausing it because I really need to get through this.
Audiences. The Steam agent even told the developers that mature content is allowed in the games, just not on the capsule.
Which is fine. We knew that.
Capsule art and the library art are shown
But down the
available.
line,
But if the issue
is it going to
about
change?
unequal
Games have already
enforcement of
started to
this
get
rule,
banned.
then yes, I agree. The enforcement is unequal. This is true
Right.
about everything.
It is more than just
Moderation
being
is much
unequal,
more
though,
lenient
isn't
on
it?
the huge channels than they are on the small channels like my own. Valve treats the big publishers like EA and Ubisoft completely differently from indie developers, giving
Right.
them many chances to get on the
So
board.
what? Now you're
And
agreeing
out
with
in
us.
the real world, something like police enforcement is unequal. And this is due to bureaucratic inconsistency as well as human variance. As long as there are different humans reviewing different things, there's going to be a
But there
different
should
outcome.
be a set
When I was
standard.
straight out
This
of
is what our
college, I had
point
a
is.
job in which I was grading tests. And they had tens of us working on these tests trying to grade them all manually. There was an attempt to try to get a certain amount of parity and consistency by having certain standards, but regardless, whoever grades the test is always going to have a different outcome. Especially since
So you
the tests we're grading were short essay
kind of feel like now
questions
he's agreeing
rather
with us,
than
saying it
multiple
is
choice
unfair
questions
treatment,
which have a clear right or
which
wrong
is what
answer.
our point
With
was. We
human
fought
variance,
for it.
not only comes inconsistency, but certain things slip through at some times. There are thousands of games that get released on Steam every month.
Right.
It is humanly impossible for Steam to manually
So this just
update
sounds like
their
he's.
Steam page without Valve reviewing and approving it. So
All right. So this bit
developers
is.
are able to update their Steam page without Valve reviewing and approving it. So that means I can take my store page and.
But not if it's not already been released. You have to have it reviewed before you can publish it, which is what stage we was at. So
And completely change it to be something
I know he's
disingenuous,
saying other
but
people
that's
have
where
done this.
users have to report me with the report button, because it's literally impossible for Valve to just keep
Yeah,
reviewing
I mean,
every
all right, we know all
single
this because now he's just going
In
through their
addition to
rules.
that,
But
the people who are reviewing these pages are people. They're all different. There could be a possibility that some of the Valve agents are more lenient towards games that are clearly marked as adult only. I don't have proof that this is true or false, but it is a possibility.
okay, so now you're just going off opinion. You've got no facts with this bit. Got it.
If a game is marked as adult only, it's invisible to everybody unless they have adult only
But Steam
games
contradicted this.
on their filter. So there could be an unofficial leniency towards it. Is this fair? No. Is this censorship? Also no. This is just inconsistent moderation. Sakura Studios blocked out the name of the agent
Which we meant to do.
reviewing their game. People were demanding for visibility of this person's name and wanted that person fired. This is no different from cancel culture. In fact, it's worse because the person was just doing their job, enforcing.
Okay, I'm not going to go through every point, especially if it's not related to us. I just want to get to the bit.
When I looked at Sakura
This bit.
Studios'
Here we
website,
go.
I wanted to learn more about them before talking about them. The website lists a senior data analyst, a lead QA, community manager, but in reality it looks like it's just one guy working on the game and 3 friends helping out, probably just doing it as volunteer work.
I'm going to let him finish.
The community manager is self-explanatory. I don't need to explain that.
He don't know what it
The
is.
QA is probably just a play tester. She likely just lets him know of any bugs she finds and gives him feedback on gameplay changes.
What QA is?
I don't even know what the senior data analyst does. My guess is probably
Here we go.
information for market research. Yes, their titles
Oh no, let him finish. Let him finish.
clearly are inflated. But I have seen other indie developers do this when it's like 1 or 2 people and they just want to give themselves fun titles just for the heck of it.
Probably going to end the video after this bit because number one, the video will have gone on too long and I feel like I'll have addressed the points. Number two, I really can't stand looking at this guy anymore because this bit annoys me more than anything else in the video. So, for a start, just straight off the bat, I don't think he understands what these rules do because he literally read out what a QA does, but in a way that sounded like it was undermining what they do. QA are vital in the video game industry, And when you have someone who is doing QA and testing a game, playing it and reporting bugs, they're doing their job. Reading it out like that is an issue, or I think they just play the game and then report bugs. So you're making fun of their role now. Not that I have to do this, but I'm gonna, because I really hate this that he's pointed out just the female team members and ridiculed their positions. He doesn't say anything about me. Which, apart from saying he thinks I'm just one guy working on the game, which we will get to, by the way, we will get to. But he picks out the 3 female team members and then says, in his words, that they are inflated, right? But I think he says for sure, or like certain, that they're inflated roles. He also then explains that he doesn't know what a senior data analyst does, and he also just says, you guys know what community manager does. Doesn't go into any specifics because he doesn't understand these roles. But again, I don't have to do this, but for his information, for anyone's information, everybody in the team is qualified and got experience for their role. Senior data analyst, I'm not going to go into absolutely everything in terms of personal details, but she is more than qualified because she has a master's in data science, experience with raw code, and obviously everything that is regarded with data analysis, hence the qualifications, and experience as well. Community manager. She has so much experience in terms of not just community managing, she actually does all of our VA coaching. She helps with getting in VAs. She does her own VA work with us. And she is an amazing community manager. She's got a lot of experience. She's been with us from very early on, and when people started changing roles, she stepped up. So she does multiple roles. Our website doesn't always get updated all the time when anything changes. We probably should give some more information just in case people like this come across and they want to invalidate someone's position. But at the same time, we didn't feel like we had to do that. We just thought people would see it as, like when you read the credits. Don't have a CV attached to someone's credits, do you? And we're going to get into credits in a minute. So, yeah. All of their positions are completely valid. I have people working with our team, with the studio, the ones who put in effort, the ones that show they're capable, not just based on qualifications, but experience and motivation, if they've got a passion for it. These things all count. Our QA lead is a fully qualified game designer. So the reason why it's super useful having her as QA lead is because instead of just playing the games and reporting bugs, she suggests to me what might be causing the bug in the first place. So the women on our team know way more about their roles than I imagine he ever will, and they're more qualified in their respective roles than I imagine he is. I don't know that for a fact, but because of how he spoke about them roles, it's a clear indicator he doesn't understand them roles. I don't fully understand his role, but we're going to get into something in a minute. Me being one guy on making the game, so I've been a freelancer for around 10 years. Every project that I work in, some of them will include me in like the credits, or they will announce when the project's done that I worked on it. But a lot of the time I work under their banner as their team. So when it gets made, it is just under that company or that body, whatever. It's under their name. I don't always get credited. I'm a freelancer. I get hired to do a job and be part of that team temporarily, and that's it. I don't take offense to that. I've been doing it for 10 years. Over 10 years now. It doesn't bother me. A lot of the time you build a relationship and they will actually say, yeah, this is the dev that did that. That's fair. For Red Pine Lake, it's true. For Ghost of Nishishima, I I took on basically all roles at kind of one point, apart from getting help with QA and VAs. But a lot of things I did myself. I did obviously hire other people, so like 3D artists and stuff like that. That's why I've said that we're a studio. I don't claim to be a solo developer because I know that I have hired other people. Even though they might appear in credits rather than the website, it doesn't invalidate the work. And we're not even obliged to always do that. And that's what they understand. And like I said, me as a freelancer, I understand. But if you look at Ghost of Tsushima, it does actually say in the credits in a little bit more detail who's done what. The website doesn't always reflect this because we have multiple projects. Now, a lot of the people that I've had helping with Red Pine Lake, they might appear in the credits in more detail, but not on the website because they've been working under our banner. As long as we have paid people, we've got correct licenses, all that kind of stuff. We're not doing anything wrong. Me being one person doing a lot of roles is a lot of work. Of course, sometimes I have to hire someone. There's no shame in that, and no indie dev should feel ashamed of that. I have to do a lot of the work myself, though. I cover narrative design, so I do have some help writing the scripts with our community manager. But I actually do the narrative design myself, level design, lighting, animation. Like even just these jobs alone is still a lot of work. But then even playtesting, I still have to do a lot of it. Work on the build, optimization. I don't do all the programming, but I am a programmer, so yes, I do some of the programming. I don't do all of it. And again, I shouldn't be making this to explain myself, but I don't want people thinking that yeah, it's just one guy. Yes, I basically am running a lot of the things, but with Red Pine Lake we expanded. It's just you guys won't have this information until the game's out. We're not obliged to share all this. So he can claim it is just one guy. That's not even offensive. Like, I did manage to make a game by myself, and it's not the only game I've made. I actually made a mobile game completely on my own. So yeah, it is something I've done. But I don't like to say I'm a solo dev because I do hire other people. So, yeah. But I think I'm going to end it here. I can't stand the fact that he is kind of just picked on the female members of the team, saying that their jobs are just invalidating their work when they're more than qualified. And I just think it's disgusting behaviour, to be honest. So they don't deserve that. It has upset people. Obviously, the community's response to this has been encouraging. People clearly on our side with this, and people even arguing points for us. So yeah, we haven't responded to them directly since our initial response because I don't think giving them the content is worth it, because it does come across as rage bait, and if it isn't, it's someone who clearly needs to have done more research. Stick to making your video game rather than wasting time making videos on someone else's, especially when you get everything wrong. And for the icing on the cake, someone shouldn't be pointing fun at someone else's roles when your own role, I couldn't even find it. Now, I'm not saying the game you said you worked on, Black Ops 4, you didn't work on, but what I'm saying is your role doesn't show up. So the only online source I could find indicated that you yourself was in a support role for that job. Now, I'm not saying that's fact, but I can't find a single source to say otherwise. It is indicated, though, that you worked on either player support or as a receptionist. I don't know which of these are true. I don't really care. But if you are going to come after people and their roles, who have a stated role in a game, and one that's already been completed and released, I think you shouldn't be coming after people for that when your role doesn't even seem to be like you're in the credits, but under what role is unknown. So please don't come after people, uh, especially if it's just an indie dev, and say that their role is inflated. I think that sucks, and it's not a good look for you if you're now an indie dev. So it's from what it seems, you no longer work in AAA. It seems Black Ops 4 was the game that you worked on, and maybe you were a receptionist. I don't know, but if it wasn't in a role that was actively involved in developing the game, I have not as I've just been defending the QAs since you were mocking them. Um, I know support roles are important in the industry and needed, but you shouldn't be saying stuff about a QA role, making out it's not a valid role, or that it's just playing games or reporting bugs, which reporting bugs is the job, you know. But there are more stages to it than that. But if you were a receptionist and not working on the actual game, and then you're poking fun at people who are actively involved in the development, VAs are very important. It's an art. It's part of the game. It's what makes it so immersive. So and senior data analysts, data is extremely important. Numbers, data are all very important. And so is research, like marketing, everything is important. So don't invalidate people. And I'll be honest, I don't really feel like I want to watch the rest of this video because the points we've had so far, I know what he's going to say. There is some other points he gets to, which are about us using crying emojis.
Are indeed more suggestive than ours that are still allowed.
I mean, everyone's already seen this.
So just for the record, you are aware of this and still won't approve a swimsuit fun. Their tone in this ticket comes off as competitive and emotionally charged.
We've already covered this. Having a big build up to a project, it does make emotions run wild, and anxiety and stuff. Like, it's not fun. I've said it's not the most professional, but we got a point across, and Steam changed their mind because we were correct, they were wrong. So anyway, he goes on to make fun of us using I think it just starts promoting his own game. He starts to make fun of us using memes and emojis. So emojis are no longer allowed. You're not allowed to use crying faces. I don't even know where he says that, to be honest. I can't bother searching for it. Changing goalposts.
It's just the capsule art that got rejected. Throughout their social media posts, they've been constantly repositioning themselves as a victim, using
Here we go.
crying emojis,
Last point we'll do.
dramatic phrasing, and constantly shifting the message whenever new information has surfaced.
When new information surface, aren't you meant to adjust to that because it's new information? Since when was using a crying emoji wrong? We literally relayed that they had said to go ahead doing the reporting and used a crying emoji. If you don't laugh at these situations as a dev, as stressful as it already is, you cry. That's it. You have to try and make light of situations. Of course we wanted some support. Who wouldn't in this situation? Because a little indie studio that's, getting stomped around by Steam, of course you're going to want support. So, yeah, we shared information. We tried to make light of some of it. And we were very thankful and very grateful for the support we got. And we still are. Our community has grown. And we've already expressed gratitude numerous times. And we will continue to, because we think it's great that people have decided that they like us. They think that we're working on something that we're sticking to as guns, which is what we're doing. Me and this person will not see eye to eye because they've shown they are pro censorship, and they don't even class it as censorship. If you block out an image or blur it out, that is literally called censoring it. I can't go into it enough to express how annoying it is to see someone censor an image, then at the same time be like, oh yeah, is this a victory for censorship? We're not going to see eye to eye. And again, I'm very annoyed about how they spoke about my team. So I am going to end it there, and hopefully this will be the end of it. Goodbye.